There's some very big news for Alexa Bliss that has fans stunned, so we'll see what's going on there. We'll also check out what's new with Carlito, the Judgment Day, and more. Starting things off with Alexa Bliss and the Uncle Howdy faction. For weeks now, it's been hinted that Uncle Howdy is returning with a faction behind him, and according to a new report from PW Insider, all the Uncle Howdy faction members have allegedly been revealed. It'll be Uncle Howdy, Erick Rowan, Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, and Nikki Cross. And that may be a great group. Obviously, it's great to see Erick Rowan involved in his project, but the biggest deflating thing about this report is that Alexa Bliss is missing from the group's plans. Everyone thought that Alexa was one of the biggest lock-ins for the group, considering that the last time we saw her in 2023, she was actively being harassed and manipulated by Uncle Howdy. Everyone thought Alexa Bliss would easily be involved in the group to continue that previous storyline from 2023, where she was supposed to reunite with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy. That just seemed like the obvious great pick for the group. But now, to see that Alexa Bliss got cut from the group, it did take away some of that hype from the fans that were looking forward to Alexa's return and inclusion in this Uncle Howdy-led group. Howdy, Rowan, and Bliss just seem like the greatest core three members to kick the group off with, and three individuals that had a close connection with Bray Wyatt. But for whatever reason, Alexa didn't make the cut, and it's still hard to figure out why, because it just makes so much sense for Alexa to return to that spot. Some fans are still holding out hope, wondering if Alexa Bliss would be an inclusion to the group that comes a bit later on and has her own solo return before joining them. But if this report is true, that'll put the group at 5 members, just missing 1 member to technically form the Wyatt 6 faction with 6 total members. And there's no better person to take that final 6th spot than Alexa Bliss. Also, not to mention that if Alexa joins the group, that'll also reunite Alexa and Nikki as a tag team. Alexa and Nikki were one of the most dominant tag teams in the women's division right around 2019 and 2020, with multiple title reigns with each other. The only thing that truly split them apart and drove them away from each other was all the drama with Alexa leaving Nikki for Bray Wyatt. So it'll be a pretty crazy full circle moment for Alexa and Nikki to reunite within this Bray Wyatt legacy faction all these years later. And for the rest of the group members, it should all be a great opportunity for underutilized talent. Dexter Lumis had a very huge return back in 2021, but his direction clearly faded away pretty fast. So it'll be nice for him to have a role here in this group, because he does blend in and fit the vibe. For Erick Rowan, it's great to see him back, because he's the last remaining original Wyatt family member. There's no better way to honor Bray and Brody Lee's life and memory than by having Erick Rowan there as the main nostalgia piece of the original Wyatt days. For Nikki Cross, it looks like this is the big payoff for the trances she's been under over the last few months. It was Uncle Howdy controlling her the entire time, so it makes sense for her and she fits the vibe as well. Same thing goes for Joe Gacy, someone who fans say gives them a lot of Bray Wyatt vibes at times. So to see him now involved in a Bray Wyatt universe project should bring out the best of him. And in the latest teaser, Uncle Howdy says that all him and his group ever wanted was a chance, but how they never received a proper chance in the company as individuals. Gotta be a little careful there with that message, because that sounds a lot like Retribution's original message and objective, and everyone knows how that turned out. So hopefully it doesn't lean too much in that direction, but hopefully just enough to keep that narrative going in a great way. There's still hype around the group, but again, that dark cloud now hovering over the faction is, of course, the big rumor that Alexa Bliss isn't involved in the group's plans. It's hard to believe, and that's really stunning, but hopefully either the report is wrong or Alexa comes in slightly later at another date, because it just seems like a massive missed opportunity to not have Alexa involved in the group when she's been one of the closest people to Bray Wyatt over the last few years, and would be such a major boost to the group's credibility. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there, but for now, Alexa Bliss is reportedly not in the group. Let's get back into some Judgment Day related matters. The biggest narrative that Damian Priest was pushing heading into Backlash over the last few weeks was about how he didn't really need the Judgment Day at all, and how they actually needed him. He vowed to retain his title against Jey Uso without their help, and seemed very locked in on making that happen. But we get to Backlash, and it turns out that he can't do it on his own. Finn Balor and JD McDonough come back out to assist Damian Priest in his match with Jey Uso. And despite Damian Priest being very upset that they were out there after he said that he can handle it on his own, he still would have lost to Jey had they not got involved. So Damian blows up on them even after the win, and it's looking like things are really falling apart for the Judgment Day. But fast forward a few nights later to the Raw after Backlash, and Damian Priest appeared to have squashed everything by apologizing to the Judgment Day for how he was acting. So all their previous tension appears to be temporarily put behind them for the time being, but it's unclear how long this peace will actually last, considering that Finn Balor and JD McDonough are continuing to lose big matches themselves. There was also another interesting development this week where Dominic Mysterio brought in Carlito to talk with the Judgment Day about possibly joining and working with them. Carlito was just drafted to Raw with the LWO, but considering that he's not really a part of the group anymore, and how they're all coming after him, he desperately needs and wants protection from a group. But Damian Priest reminds Carlito that just 1 year ago, Carlito ruined Damian's match against Bad Bunny and kicks him out of the room. This continues the theme of Dominic actively trying to get the Judgment Day's extra help and working relationships, but everyone he brings in has been shot down from the group. Andrade, Santos Escobar, and now Carlito. All people that he thought would help the group, but Damian didn't want anything to do with them. And maybe this is something that comes up again as the group continues to struggle. They could have had all this extra outside help, but Damian repeatedly turned them all down. So it'll be interesting how that could pop back up later on. Even though he did just apologize on Raw for his recent actions, it just doesn't look like the peace will last that long in the Judgment Day. They're clearly showing that Damian Priest is under a lot of pressure right now, trying to balance his world title reign and also try to keep the group afloat. So it shouldn't be that long before Priest lashes out again on the Judgment Day. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys!